the life of a YouTuber. It's when I'm about to go into hospital placement today, so I have bright blue scrub pants on, but then I didn't want to film with my scrubs, so I put on a nice shirt. If you see blue pants at all during the filming of this video, don't worry, I'm not colorblind or color coordinated problems. It's just because I was too lazy to change everything and I just changed my top. Hello everybody, it's Kristen here. Welcome back to my channel. So today I'm going to be bringing you my book haul, and this is a very large book haul. I think it was 40 books the last time I counted. Within the past couple months, you guys know I was in a really tough semester of school, and so kind of to de-stress, I would go book shopping. So I still found some really good deals. I'm just going to show you the books now. So I obviously don't have a lot of time to give full descriptions of the books, so I'm just going to give you kind of a really brief description of it, what genre the book is, and then I probably won't even be able to stack them, so, and I also probably won't be able to hold them up at the end of this video, so. Alright, so I'm just going to start with the books. I'm just going to grab them. There's just massive piles beside me. The first book I have to show is The Wise Man's Fear by Patrick Rothfuss. You guys know I'm a major fantasy fan, like full-on fantasy. And I did find the first book at my local Value Village like a while ago, and I found the second one. So I'm super happy because apparently this is like an awesome fantasy series and I want to read it. They're big books. Like, oh my gosh, this shirt. Guys, did I just make a really bad decision with this shirt? I think I did. Like, look at the size of this guy. This is huge. This is what? Over 1,000 pages. Like, that's gonna go with fantasy. You gotta go with that big. The next book I have, I'm actually really excited about because so many people have said it's amazing. And that's Dark Matter by Blake Crouch. This one, like, people who don't even read sci-fi thriller stuff are saying they loved it. I don't know much about it, but I think it's kind of like a psychological thriller, like it's about the choices you make. I don't know. So I got this one. So sci-fi, thriller, psychological thriller kind of stuff. So yeah. Super happy about that. And then the next book I have is The Girl Who Loved Tom Gordon by Stephen King. You guys probably know that this is a horror. Stephen King does write other genres, and I'm actually really interested to read some of the other genres he's written. I think he's written romance or I don't know, contemporary, something like that. He's also written fantasy. So that's on my like reading bucket list, is to read the different genres by Stephen King. But this one is a horror. And basically there's a girl who gets lost in the forest and there's a creature chasing her, and she, I think, has a radio on her and she can hear a baseball game playing, and that's Tom Gordon is a baseball player. What I really like about this is it's super short for a horror. I might just pick this up in October because it's going to be an easy horror book. And I really like Stephen King's writing. I think he's really easy to read. So I got that. And then next up, I got this, if I can grab all the books. I got the Remnant Chronicle series by Mary E. Pearson. The first book is The Kiss of Deception. The second is The Heart of Betrayal. And the third is The Beauty of Darkness. And I am currently on book 3. I'm about halfway through now, and I'm really enjoying the series. My sister really wanted me to read this series. She really enjoyed it. It's a young adult fantasy series, and the premise starts with a young princess who is betrothed to this prince from another kingdom, kind of to form an alliance between the two kingdoms. On her wedding day, she runs away, and there's two men that come after her. One is the prince and one is an assassin. And what's really interesting about how the first book is told, it doesn't do that in the other books, but in the first book you don't know who the prince and you don't know who the assassin is. So she has these interactions with these characters, and then when they have their own chapters, it's just listed as prince or assassin and you don't know who it is. And then obviously later in the book towards the end you discover who it is, and it's just like, so good. I got this series and I'm almost finished it. I'm probably gonna finish the last book sometime within the next week or two. The next two books I have to show are part of a series. It's a fantasy series, and that is A Song of Ice and Fire by George R. Oh my gosh. A Song of Ice and Fire by George R.R. Martin. So the first book is A Game of Thrones and second is A Clash of Kings. I have not watched the TV show and I have not read the books. I was always on the fence about getting the books because it's adult fantasy and apparently, you know, it kind of goes the extremes here, there, and everywhere. So I was like, do I really want that? But then I was talking with another nursing student actually, and she said that she read this series. I don't know if she's read them all, but she read like 1 or 2, 3, something. She said she really liked this fantasy series. And so I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna do it. And these are, like, because this series is so popular, they actually kind of pop up everywhere. So I was able to get 1 and 2. I don't think I'm gonna get any more until I actually start the series because I don't really want to stock up if I'm not really into the books. I do hear that it's a really good fantasy series. Okay, moving on. Next up, I have Neverwhere by Neil Gaiman. This is a dark fantasy, and what I really like about this is that it's a standalone. When I first discovered BookTube, this was one of the first books I wanted to read, and I just never picked it up. In the past 2 years, I've never picked it up. But this is basically, there's an underworld under the streets of London, England. This man gets kind of transported from, I don't know, London, England to the underworld. And it's just about all the things he sees there. I don't know much beyond that. But apparently it's a dark classic of modern fantasy. So I don't know why, but I've heard amazing things about Neil Gaiman. And the only book I've read by him is The Ocean at the End of the Lane. And I didn't enjoy that one. I think that book is definitely for some people. It just was not for me. I liked his writing, and so that's why I want to pick up another book of his. So now I finally do have one. And maybe this is a good Halloween book. I don't know. Let me know if you think this is a worthwhile read in October. The next book I have is Fool's Assassin by Robin Hobb. Robin Hobb is one of those top fantasy writers. I've always wanted to get some of her books, but they're never available. And I finally found one. I don't know all of her series. I don't know. And so this one, what is this one? Oh, book 1 of the Fitz and the Fool trilogy. Wow. Just read the cover, Kristen. Yay! More fantasy books. The next book I have up is Daughter of the Forest by Juliette Marillier. I don't even know where I first heard of this book. I feel like as a fantasy lover and fantasy booktuber, whenever I watch booktube videos about like favorite fantasy books or fantasy blah blah blah, this one probably popped up. So I'm really, oh wow, you can't really see it because of the, kind of got brighter. So this story follows a lady or a girl called Sorcha, and basically there's an evil enchantress that puts her father and her brothers under a spell, or just her brothers, I don't know. And in order to save her family, she has to go kind of undo that curse or break that curse, but she's not able to talk while she's on this quest. So this is a quest type of story, seems like an adventure story. I love those types of books. I'm actually planning on buddy reading this with book nerd Bobby. She's in a bookstagrammer. I'll put her down below so you can go check her out. We're gonna read this in October and I'm really excited for it. There's just something about reading fantasy in the fall season, so I'm really excited for this in October. She's probably gonna read it faster than me because of school. I don't have as much time, but that's okay. She is an awesome person, so go follow her on Bookstagram. Moving on. The next 2 books I have are Murder Mysteries by the Queen, Agatha Christie. I have Murder on the Orient Express and ABC Murders. I'm sure a lot of people have read Agatha Christie books. They are great murder mysteries, and they're not super long. These are such cool editions of them. I love this. The next book I have, I'm super excited about, and that is The Queen of the Tearling by Erika Johansen. This is one of my favorite series of all time. When I first read this, I got it from the library, and because I love this so much, I wanted to own it eventually. And so now that process is happening. There was only book 1 when I was book shopping. But honestly, guys, this is my favorite book cover I've ever seen. It's like, oh, look at that spine. That's just beautiful. I love it. I really love this series and I want to reread it eventually. So now I have book 1 and I'm just going to slowly collect the other ones. If you like fantasy and you like a little bit of like dystopia fantasy, kind of different from the norm, but it kind of starts in like a medieval type of setting, You'd really like this series. I love it. And I love the main character. She's so awesome. Coffee break. Next up is The Couple Next Door by Lapena, or Shari, I don't know. I read this one over the summer, and on Goodreads, I think I gave it 3.5 out of 5 stars. It's a kind of thriller, suspense, murder mystery type of story. It centers around a couple whose baby gets kidnapped, and it's just the mystery of who kidnapped their baby. It's just that whodunit kind of story. And it was written really well. Not amazing. I felt like the first half was pretty slow, but it does pick up and it does get really good. So I got that one. Then I have another, murder mystery thriller suspense, and that is Pretty Girls by Karin Slaughter. I have not read any Karin Slaughter yet, but she's becoming a big name. And I saw this and I was like, yeah, I'm just gonna get it because my mom loves these types of crime stories, murder, thrillers, and so she is already really interested in this one. I think she's gonna pick it up soon. But yeah, I got another one. I don't know what this one is about. Kind of the 3 words, you know how there's always kind of like a big descriptor at the top, and this one says sisters, strangers, survivors. So yeah, looking forward to reading this one when I get a chance. It's actually kind of bigger than I thought, but maybe not. It's under 400 pages. It's just maybe thick pages, like thick paper. But anyways, next up is The Widow by Fiona Barton. This one my mom read recently, and oh my gosh, this shirt's really pissing me off. My mom read this one recently, and she did enjoy it. She didn't give it a great rating. And so to be honest, I really trust my mom's opinion, and if she says it's kind of like, nah, kind of you might not enjoy it as much, I'm not gonna read it. So I'm probably gonna unhaul this. It's a thriller that will take you into the dark spaces that exist between a husband and wife. So if you like those types of stories, maybe you'll like this. My mom didn't say it was terrible, but she didn't say it was amazing. Oh my gosh, I have so much books, I have so much books to get through. Next up is The Woman in the Window by AJ Finn. My mom read this recently. As I said earlier, she likes thrillers, murder, crime stories. And she said she really enjoyed this one. So basically it's this woman who has, I forget what it's called, but it's fear of public spaces, or like meeting people. So she stays at home a lot, and she sees a murder happen through her window, and she goes to the police about it. So story takes place from there. My mom read this real quick. I think she read it in like 2-3 days. And she really enjoyed it. So I'm actually really looking forward to reading this one. The next book I have, I think, is the only contemporary I have. As you can tell, I don't read contemporary much. And that is It Ends With Us by Colleen Hoover. This is a new adult contemporary romance. I have read Confess by Colleen Hoover, and I really, really liked it. I definitely prefer new adult contemporaries over young adult. Just because of my age. I'm 23, so I find I just enjoy that. New adult because it tends to be like 18 to, I don't know, 25 or something like that. I don't know what this is about, but I really liked Confess, so I got this one. Next up, I have Blink by Ted Dekker. This is an older book. I don't know when it came out, but I did a video a long time ago, I'll put it up in the cards, about my favorite books and authors before BookTube. Ted Dekker is one of those authors. And so my sister found this book and she got it for me. It's kind of like a, can you say futuristic, thriller, suspense type of story. Maybe a little sci-fi, I don't know. I really don't know. I really like Ted Dekker's books, so if it's one of my favorite authors, you betcha I'm gonna get the books. A few other books I got while my mom and I were kind of on a weekend getaway. There was a bookstore in a small town, and I was like, when I saw it. And so there were a few books that my mom and me got, and my mom actually picked out some books that she's really excited about. So I thought I'd show them to you because they're gonna go on, the family bookshelf. The first book is Never Let Me Go by Kazuo Ishiguro. Few people have told me, they've, messaged me saying, bring out the tissue boxes because this is gonna make you cry. And I do believe that this is like it was shortlisted for the Man Booker Prize 2005. So my mom picked that one out, and then another one she got was Under the Hawthorn Tree by I don't know how to say that. Amy? No, I don't know. This one was created into a movie. It's about the Cultural Revolution in China. My mom loves history. You know, just like she enjoys crime, murder, thriller stories, she also really enjoys fiction and history and just learning about different cultures. This book really stuck out to her. So, yeah, we got those books. A book I got recently, pretty recently, is Beautiful Ruins by Jess Walter. This is a like fiction story set. It begins in Italy, but it kind of takes you to New York. Don't know. Kind of takes you across like 12 characters, I believe. Young man falls in love with a beautiful actress, but then they part ways, and it's just how, you know, he finds her later, I believe, or he tries to find her. I'm in love with anything Italy, and so when I saw that this was kind of set in Italy, at least part of it, I was like, I want to get it. And that cover is beautiful. I love this. Oh. Next up, I have a classic, and that is Anna Karenina by Leo Tolstoy. This is one chunker of a book. It's a big classic. It's really heavy. I feel like I'm not going to be able to read this in like 1 month. This might take me like a few months of reading through it. This actually does come with a discussion guide in the back, which I think is really cool. I'm hoping sometime in my future I can do a buddy read or maybe a book club or something with a bunch of people, just because I feel like this book you can't just like race through and be like, oh, that was nice. You know, classics are classics for a reason. Got that big guy, girl, Anna Karenina, would you, big book. I make sense. The next book I have is The Distant Hours by Kate Morton. I haven't read any Kate Morton books. This is the second one I've bought. I need to stop. BookTube sucks you in, and then you hear these things and you see these books and you're like, oh, I've heard it somewhere. I've got to get it. But I do think I'm gonna like Kate Morton stories because they're kind of the, you know, suspense or mystery stories, and this is like set in a castle and it's just mysterious, and I don't know, there's just something like really intriguing about that setting. So I got it. It's quite a big book actually. It's like 560 pages, and also really pretty covers too. I have The Forgotten Garden. Oh my gosh, I have 3 books by her. That's terrible. Now I have 3? Guys, what's my problem? Oh, I'm embarrassed. Moving on. Next up we have Middlesex by Jeffrey Eugenides. Oh my gosh. Eugenides? By Jeffrey. Again, my mom and me, when we were in that small bookstore, she found this one and she really wanted it. This is a winner of the Pulitzer Prize. It's about a Greek American family that's settling into Detroit. It's just one of those kind of family drama stories, and my mom found it and she was like, yeah, I want this. And I was like, okay, let's get it. I support anybody who wants to buy books. And the next book I have is The Man from St. Petersburg by Ken Follett. This one does not have a cover, and it's kind of chewed up by a dog, I'm guessing. So not a pretty cover, but just the title of it. My mom has read Ken Follett stories before, books, and she really likes his writing. I think I read this. This is about a man in St. Petersburg who gets swept up into kind of crime in St. Petersburg or something like that. He gets involved somehow by accident, and so it's kind of a suspense thriller type of story. And it's kind of short, which is kind of nice. It's not a big chunky one. It's just a couple hundred pages. If you have heard of this or if you've read this, let me know. I had to look it up on Goodreads when I was in that bookstore, and it got decent ratings. So next book I have is A Court of Frost and Starlight by Sarah J. Maas. As you guys know, I'm an ACOTAR fan, A Court of Thorns and Roses series. I've heard absolute crap about this book. Not heard good reviews. I think it's just a part of that world, so eventually I'll read it soon. My sister read it and she said it's kind of a good Christmas read because part of the book takes place around like a Christmas festival or something, like I don't know, something like that. So I'll read it this December probably. But kind of sad that this got such crap because I really like the series, and it's just probably a money grab to create another, you know, novella or something, but The next 2 books are part of a fantasy series, and that is the Avalon series by Marion Zimmer Bradley. I have book 1, and now I have, I don't know which one's 3 and 4. 3 and 4? I don't know. But this is an Arthurian legend fantasy story, which I think is a really cool concept. I don't think I've ever heard of any other books besides this one. And another booktuber says that this is one of their favorite fantasy series. Now I own 1, 3, and 4. For goodness sake, I can't find 2. Ugh. The next book I have is Skyki by James Frey and Nils Johnson Shelton. I have book 1, and I think this is just a duology, or you can read them separately. I'm not quite sure. But this is a young adult dystopia futuristic sci-fi story, and it's about puzzles and stuff like that, from what I know. Don't know much, but that sounds cool. I like puzzles. Oh gosh. Oh no. Ow, I hurt my thumb. The next few books I have are books by some of my favorite authors. They're Christian authors, but they write horror and thriller. Kind of a weird genre to pick, but I love their writing. Some of them are by Ted Dekker, which I told you is one of my favorite authors. I have Obsessed by Ted Dekker. I have House by Fred by Ted Dekker and Frank Peretti, which is another author I love. And then I have The Visitation by Frank Peretti, and I have Monster by Frank Peretti. And these are all horror books. And so there was a sale online and I went crazy, as you can tell. House, I think, is like a really good one. I don't know about the other ones, but I wanted some horror. I've read thrillers and horrors by these authors before, and they're really good. So yeah, I got 4. 3 more books to go. So the next book I have is Queen of Fire by Anthony Ryan. Guys, I wore the wrong shirt for this. I'm so mad at myself. The things you do for filming. I have a friend who recommended this fantasy series to me. It's a Raven Shadow series. So I have 1, and I think this is 3. I can never find 2. That's like my curse in book buying. Heard really good things about this fantasy series. Obviously they don't match, which kind of bugs me a little bit, but what are you gonna do? What are you gonna do? And then the last 2 books I have to show are part of a series, and that is the Throne of Glass series by Sarah J. Maas. I have Empire of Storms and Tower of Dawn. As you can tell, these were on sale because they did not come with their sleeves. But now I have the complete series by her. I have not read it. That is one of my goals for next year, is to read the Throne of Glass series because I like ACOTAR so much. I've heard the Throne of Glass is like, kind of starts bad, but it peaks at book 3 and 4. So I don't know. But I do like Sarah J. Maas's writing, so I have the rest of the series now. So anyways, that is all of the books I have. It's just taking over the bookshelf. You know, this is the pretty section right here, but the rest is a mess. Thank you guys so much for watching. Let me know what one of your favorite books you got in the past couple months was. As you can tell, I went a little crazy with like 40 books. Let me count.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 39 books.
39 books. I am going on a book buying ban until Christmas. But yeah, that is my book haul. Thank you guys so much for watching. Give this video a big ol' thumbs up. Click subscribe if you haven't already, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye!